Hello there, friends. This time on the Forever Classic podcast, we have Dave Oshry on the show from New Blood Interactive. I highly recommend you check out their games. They're really fun, especially their two takes on retro first-person shooters, that being Dusk and a Medieval. Dave also throws out some really good recommendations, including a retro one that apparently we really should not have missed. I really hope you enjoy this episode because this one has definitely taken an awful lot of time to edit, and we've had a lot going on at Forever Classic and behind the scenes, especially with me doing a lot of work over at Marooner's Rock in my day job as an accountant, so things have been really hectic. I got sick at one point, and please just enjoy this episode. We've got a lot more cool stuff on the way. It's just a matter of sitting down and editing it all together, so please, as always, stay cool and enjoy the Forever Classic podcast.
Classic Podcast, the show seeking enlightenment through video games, films, and other geek culture. With me today is Alex, as usual.
Hey, what's up?
And Alex, do you want to introduce our special guest today?
We have somebody who I've been meaning to talk to for a while now, because I've been low-key following their games for, I don't know, the past year and a half or so. We have Dave Oshry.
Hey.
And Dave, of course, is mostly known for his work on Dusk on PC and I think a couple consoles by now, isn't it? Or is it just PC so far?
Just PC, coming to Switch, and then Xbox, PlayStation, Ouya, Genesis, you name it.
Ah, the Ouya, that's the real ticket.
Oh yeah, we're gonna make bank on that one. I'm really counting on that one.
And of course, you are the co-founder of New Blood Interactive?
Yeah, co-founder, CEO, head dude, whatever.
Nice. And you guys got some really excellent games. I've been playing through the library for the past week or so, and there's some really great titles in there. And we'll kind of get into those and just kind of ask you some general questions. But Zach, what have you been up to, man? It's been a while since we've sat down at the mic.
A lot of things. Currently, I have been just kind of doing Discord and website maintenance. We've got a lot of articles out, pumping that website full of content, which is nice, and it's starting to bear fruit, especially with your review of 1980X.
Yeah, we got some massive hits on that. That was crazy.
We did. That put us up almost 1,000 views in a day, and that was something that we were not expecting.
Yeah, so that was really cool. I think posting that to Reddit and a couple of the Facebook groups I'm a part of really pushed that. Because somebody recommended it on one of the retro gaming groups, and I'm like, this looks neat. This is $10. I'll spend an evening playing this. And I was actually really surprised by it.
Yeah, it looked amazing, and everybody I've shown the article to is, personally have been really interested in it.
Nice. That's a cool little project. 1980X. XX. 19XX.
19XX? Oh, I thought it was in 198X. Whoops.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to look at it.
But that, and been trying to do a couple of new Destiny things, because they have their moments of triumph.
Nice.
And just life. Life is life. I've got a whole lot of stuff going on with work, so it's keeping me busy and moving.
I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, 1980X came out?
Yeah, it's out.
Wasn't that Kickstarter thing?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I backed that. When did that come out? What?
Like a month ago?
Yeah, sometime in...
Son of a bitch. I gotta go, guys. I gotta go play that. It looks awesome.
It takes you about 2 or 3 hours, so we can wait.
Yeah, it's just, what is it? It's part 1. Okay, so they're releasing it in parts.
Oh, I was hoping that was the case.
That's weird. Ooh, the reviews are not great.
I thought it was cool.
So it's like every genre all in one, right? It's like part racing game, part RPG, part beat 'em up.
Yeah. It's really cool. It's like a narrative that really hits home for anybody that kind of grew up in the 90s and were kind of like...
Oh yeah, totally. And the pixel art looks great. I probably have a code for it because I backed it on Kickstarter. So yeah.
You should. I would hope so.
I'm gonna mess with that. I've been finally catching up on Deus Ex, Mankind Divided.
Oh,
so
all right.
I've
actually never played a Deus Ex game.
I have not either. I've never played it.
What? The What kind of retro podcast is this?
Look, our PC knowledge is not
Forever
great.
classics, okay, and the fucking Deus Ex probably one of the most classic games of all time. Okay, sure, guys. Forever classic, my ass.
Dave isn't coming back. This is the first and last time he'll be on the show.
This is an outrage.
So definitely that needs to be put on our list. I'm gonna make a note of that. Deus Ex, fucking play it. Gotcha.
Well, I mean, the original, even all modded up, it's pretty archaic and, kind of hard to get back into, kind of like the same as the old System Shock games. I'd say Shock 2 is pretty good to get into these days, but Shock 1 remake and Deus Ex 1, just the controls and stuff feel so archaic, but you can get through it. But at least play the new ones. You should play, Human Revolution, the 2011 one, and then Mankind Divided, which was 2016.
God, I might have these games. I think I've got them on 360 or something.
There are ones I've never played, and not many of the people around me played them. I eyeballed them for ever, but I just never took the leap into grabbing them. So I'm really aware, I just never actually have done any of them.
That's how I am with a lot of classic PC shooters, and I guess we'll kind of get into that here in a little bit, but my knowledge of PC shooters kind of revolved around what I was seeing on XPlay and the G4 channel and such. So I was always aware of a lot of different aspects of it, but I never sat down to actually play a lot of them until here recently.
Yeah, I think you guys are just younger than me as well.
Yeah, I'm 27.
You're a baby. I'm 35.
I'm 29,
I'm getting there.
When I was your age, I was playing Duke Nukem 3D with keyboard controls only.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
I've tried keyboard controls only. It's so strange as somebody who's played.
I remember back in the early mid-90s, WASD wasn't the standard yet. And so we mostly played with the arrow keys and then, spacebar and stuff. And then, a lot of the times what I would do and other people forward and stuff would be bound to mouse 2, stuff like that. And you'd have your hands on the arrow keys and then your hands on the mouse to move around. And it feels weird now, with WASD and mouse look being standard, which was what, Quake introduced.
Yeah.
Back then it was the mouse was barely a thing. And I remember games like Thief, and I remember I'd have stuff like jump bound to my mouse and move forward bound to my mouse.
Huh.
And that's what felt normal to me. And people were like, no, WASD now is for a thing. And I'd be like, what? No, that doesn't feel right. Times have changed.
I heard that some dude just was experimenting with WASD for some tournament or something, and that ended up slowly being adopted by some of the other games. I read it in an article or something. I don't know if there's any validity to it.
Yeah, now it just makes so much sense, right? Just look where your hands are. It's that's on that side. Your hand's on the mouse. Your thumb's right where the space bar is. It just, I don't know how we did anything before that is wild.
Ever since the NES, and probably before that, if you want to get real technical about it, your movement is typically mapped to your left hand, and your actions are mapped to your right. So yeah, it does kind of make sense.
Yeah, it was the same thing with consoles. I remember, forget what the first game was to have there was an article. It wasn't Halo. I think it was a game before Halo where, it was definitely before that. It was for the original Xbox. I forget what game it was. Yeah, it could have been, it was, I think before Halo, it was an Aliens game or something. And there was a whole review that was in one of the big magazines where it's the control scheme's really weird. You use one thumbstick to look around and the other one to move. Nobody's ever done this before. And it was just now that's completely the standard.
That was Aliens on the PS1, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and it was just this is wild. You look around with one thumbstick and you move with the other. It's yeah. Can you imagine doing anything else now with a controller?
I love looking at older reviews specifically for that, because there's a lot of weird insight that we just don't get anymore.
Oh,
yeah. No, that stuff sounds absolutely bonkers to me. I play everything that I do inverted, and that is bonkers to a lot of my friends, and I couldn't imagine telling them that they can't use their mouse, and they only can use the keys on their board.
Oh, I can't do inverted.
The only thing I can do inverted is flight controls, because it feels wild otherwise, but I can't play normally inverted, especially when we have, we do shows and stuff like PAX, and people will come up and change the controls to inverted and won't tell us and won't set them back, and then you got people sitting down this game's broken.
Nah, see, when I was younger, I could not play. I was really, really terrible at playing games technically. I didn't understand them until I was 15.
I still am.
But but I finally was well, I can't get this switch between a plane and a person. I was I'm just gonna make them the same thing. Ever since then, I just stuck with inverted. I felt I had more granular control. I mean, I didn't understand that at the time, but that's definitely what it is now. And I can't imagine doing anything else. Except for when I'm on computer, I cannot do anything inverted. If I'm using a mouse, it has to be just normal.
That's interesting. I'm the same way when it comes to flight controls. For whatever reason, it just feels way better to have the inverted look. I guess it's because naturally that's how flight works. Like, you pull back on the stick to go up or adjust your yaw or whatever.
Yeah, because you know us, we're actual pilots. When we're not flying fighter jets, we're playing video games, so we know about flight controls.
Oh.
That was in the secret parts of the notes. We're gonna have to edit that out.
Oh shit! Yeah, yeah. I'm actually a stunt double for Top Gun too.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've worked with those producers. They're good guys.
Yeah. Tom Cruise just a really nice guy.
Ah, here he is. But yeah, so my kind of like background with retro shooters, for whatever reason I'm fascinated by them, but I don't have a whole lot of actual experience with them because I never had a PC worth a shit. So nowadays I'm playing all these like retro shooters ported over to Steam and things that are inspired by retro shooters and just having an absolute blast.
Yeah, it's a fun genre.
That is for sure. But since you guys seem to be kind of masters of this genre, like, what do you think the most appealing aspects of the retro FPS really are?
Just the fact that, it's about, leading the player without holding their hand, giving them options and ways to play through the levels, designing really fun encounters, letting the player just do whatever the fuck they want and have fun. Like this big dance of death that was perfected with games like Doom and Quake and Blood and stuff like that. Just, dancing around and having crazy fun in the levels and, finding secrets, non-linear stuff, making the player feel clever when he figures something out. Just all that stuff that you got in all these different games in the 90s and early 2000s that were just different than the big budget stuff that you get today. And I mean, I'm a big fan of, linear scripted stuff too. Like I love the Metro games. I love that kind of stuff. But, there's something about, the games we played growing up and how much freedom they allowed you and how much fun you could have. And how you had to, think on your feet, and how you could always surprise the player with different things and, change it up level to level, right? Like in Dusk, we've got like levels that are just completely bonkers and then some that play completely straight. And we can do that because you can basically do whatever the hell you want from level to level because, we're not trying to make one cinematic experience. Like, sure, we've got a story and everything's connected, but you can change stuff up so much. Like with Dusk, for example, think about episode 1 and then the stuff we do in episode 3. It's almost like a completely different game. But you can do that because you only have to design, level-to-level, moment-to-moment gameplay, and you can have so much fun with it. And I think that's thinking back on all the shooters from the 90s, the Build Engine games and the Quake games and stuff like, even like Half-Life and stuff like that. We're not going to talk about Zen, but like, different moments and different episodes, you could have fun with it and get weird. And you remember everybody's got a different favorite part of these games, and I think, the stuff we're doing or the stuff we've done. I mean, it's not like our thing. We just happened to do Dusk and then a Medieval. It's not like, we started the company to do retro shooters. It's just we make the games that we like, right? The kind of games that we like working on. And none of the stuff we've got coming up now is a retro shooter, thankfully, because I'm like kind of over them because like there's been so many and we just got done working on 2 and there's like so many more to play now. So we're working on more like horror stuff right now.
Ooh.
But it's fun. I mean, everything goes in cycles, right? And we're kind of getting back to that like N64, PS1, late 90s, early 2000s era now, whereas, a few years ago, everything was like NES, SNES, pixel art. Everything goes in cycles, music, fashion, games, everything, right? So now we're kind of getting to that part where the guys like us who grew up playing these games are now old enough to make the games and like meet the people who like made them, which is wild. And that's kind of where we're at, and it's been fun. Like, are we making like millions of dollars, and selling like millions of copies? No. But, we make games that we really like, that our players really like. There's enough of an audience for us to keep doing it and, be a profitable, fun company and not have to worry about shit. And it's good. Life is good. Can't complain, right?
So I guess you guys are really kind of fascinated there with the retro FPS. What sort of area of gaming are you guys interested in now? Because I saw 2 games on the way, Tonight We Riot and I think Laser Type, and those didn't have Steam listings yet.
Yeah, those were in development for a while. Well, Laser Type, Tonight We Riot is getting there on Switch. It's a Switch only game right now.
Oh, okay.
I actually just played through the whole thing the other night, and that's getting there. And then Laser Type was VR typing game that we've kind of turned into a VR typing rhythm Beat Saber type game. It also
cool.
works in non-VR. And it was coming along really well, and then our lead programmer on that got a job at Disney on Galaxy's Edge.
Whoa.
The new Star Wars park at Disneyland.
Nice.
So he's one of the main programmers for their new ride. I forget what the ride is. The new Millennium Falcon big, ride that they got there. So he's been doing that for like the past 2 years. So that's one's kind of like on indefinite hiatus until his contract with Disney's up, and I think he said like September, but I'd love to get that going again. What else we got? We got a couple of unannounced things. Working on like a Thiefy System Shock 2E type survival horror.
I've been following that guy. The guy who's like the main dev or something that's doing the Thief game.
Yeah, Gloomwood. It's not really, so we haven't really announced it yet, but it's like an open secret for anyone that follows us, and we're really excited about that because that's another one of those genres that we really, really miss. Stuff like they call them immersive sims. I think that's the dumbest name ever. I used to call them FPS RPGs when I was growing up. These are games like Deus Ex, System Shock, Thief. I love Thief, and we all love Thief so much. If Dusk was like an homage to like all the shooters from the 90s, Gloomwood is an homage to all the looking glass immersive FPS RPGs of the 90s. So games like Thief and System Shock, and there's definitely bits of like Resident Evil and stuff like that, survival horror in there. So I think that's going to be our kind of like our main thing later this year, next year. Then of course Maximum Action, which I'm sure you've seen, which is our send-up of all things bullet time and ragdoll physics and janky nonsense. So if you liked games like Max Payne and Dead to Rights, and also mods like The Specialists for Half-Life and stuff like this, Double Action Boogaloo, Maximum Action is just silly ridiculous.
It reminds me of like GoldenEye meets Super Hot.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. It's got very GoldenEye vibes. It's supposed to, the whole look is supposed to really invoke like early Source Engine mods and stuff like that. So like the Half-Life 1 era, and then combined with all the crazy ragdoll physics and bullet time of the old Max Payne games.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's really dumb fun. We added workshop support, so it's got custom maps and custom weapons, and there's just all people have been putting weapons from like all kinds of games in there and all kinds of different things. Like we got all the weapons from like Vice City and Payday, and somebody put a pencil in because John Wick once killed 3 motherfuckers with a pencil.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of dumb shit, all the Doom weapons, and then that game's like really fun for us to work on because we're just adding more levels and more weapons and changing the movement. And George is really good at making new guns and new animations for them. And he's only 18, the guy that made Maximum Action, George. When we first played it, because he wasn't like a member of New Blood, we first played it, we're like, oh my god, everybody at the company played it, and we're like, yo, we love this game. Who makes this thing? We figured it was like some Slav in a basement in Siberia. And it turns out it's an 18-year-old college kid from San Diego who lives like 20 minutes from me. I was like, what? So I got in touch with him, and I went and met up with him, and I took him out to lunch, and I was like, dude, we love your game. We'd like love to work on it. He was like, oh, sick. Like, I'm starting my first semester of college. I was like, what?
Holy crap, he's a freshman.
Yeah, he started working on
He
started working on games when he was like 6 years old. Started doing animations when he was like 9.
Holy crap.
And he's so young that the main inspiration for Maximum Action's physics was not Max Payne 1 or 2, it was Max Payne 3.
Oh, wow.
Which came out in 2012 when he was I guess 12 years old, which is nuts. That's how, I am literally twice his age. And now we're making him lots of money, which is cool. I think he's already paid off his student loans thanks to Maximum Action, which is pretty rad.
That is excellent.
So we've got that going on, and then, I don't know, a bunch of unannounced shit. But we're having fun, People ask, like, well, how do you, like, come up with the games you work on? Like, how do you decide? Do you, like, look at trends and stuff and market data? I'm like, what? We just make whatever the fuck we want, and hopefully people like it.
That seems like a pretty good philosophy, and I wish more and more publishers and developers would kind of stick to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard when you got, like, we don't have, like, any investors or, shareholders and shit. We don't have to get stuff out to meet deadlines, and obviously the big publishers and developers do have to do that stuff. So that's the cool thing about being at the indie level. We can kind of just do whatever the hell we want.
Awesome. So when did you guys kind of start working on Dusk then? Like, how long was that in development before kind of people got a hold of it?
David had the idea for Dusk when he was like 14, but he didn't really get around to it for, another 10, 20 years. He started working on it, I guess, in late 2015, and in 2016, I didn't know him at that point. He had made some walking sim survival horror games, and at some point in 2016, early 2016, he tweeted at me, and this dude had like, it's like a brand new Twitter account, and it had like, he followed like 3 people. It was Tom Hall, John Romero, and me. I was like, sure. He tweeted at me, and he was like, hey, I'm working on a game, you might like it. He DM'd me and he sent me a build. And that build's public now. We put it out there. It was just one room and some stuff you can do and some guns you could shoot. You could like turn on the sink and, open some chests and jump around. But it was already like, it felt basically just like Dusk feels now with the exception of some stuff. And I was like, this is special. There's really something here. We got a deal together in 2016 and he came on and he was tuning pianos for a living at that point. And he had never been on a plane before, and I got them to fly out to QuakeCon to show the game for the first time. We hadn't announced it yet, but we had made like one endless level, and we started showing it to people, and they were like really excited about it. And I was like, we've got something really special here, and we built it out from that one-room demo into like this 3-episode, full-on game over the next 2-3 years. And we were originally going to launch at like October. We really want to hit October, Halloween 2017. And we didn't come out until, December 10th, 2018, which is the 25th anniversary of Doom, which is still pretty
That is pretty apt.
Ooh, yeah.
That was very much on purpose, because we were trying to pick a date, and we were like, the game was like basically ready. We still wanted to hit Halloween 2018, but it wasn't quite there, and we didn't want to put it out too early. Like we probably would have gotten like some more reviews and coverage had we hit Halloween, because December is kind of a dead time because everyone's on vacation, but it's also a good time to release because you had the Steam Winter Sale and stuff. And we did very well, but I was like, we're trying to pick a date, and I was like, yo, should we do December 10th? And people like, isn't that like that's Doom, right? And I was like, yeah, it's the 25th anniversary of Doom, and they were like, is that blasphemy, or is that like a really cool idea? I'm like, I think it's a really cool idea. And I called up my friends at id Software in Bethesda, and I was like, hey, we're gonna launch Dusk on Doom's birthday, and they were like, sick. We love Dusk. I was like, cool, could you give us some tweets and stuff? And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. So yeah, it all went really, really well, but it took a while. We were all pretty burnt out. If anybody's ever worked in games, like that last 10% is so, just getting the game finished is so hard. You're just so burnt out by them, but it's so important. I think I made David redo the ending like 20 times, and he was just so over it, trying to animate giant tentacle monsters and shit, which was so out of his realm of, capability at that point. But I was like, we got to stick the landing. Like the ending is so important. Yeah. Like it's so important. It turned out so great, and I'm so happy, and people really love it. I'm not going to spoil it, but obviously we got big surprise, twisty stuff that goes on at the end of Dusk.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I really had a great time with it.
About 3 years or so to make Dusk, and most of it was trying to get fucking multiplayer working properly. If anybody's listening to this, do not add multiplayer to your indie game, for the love of God.
Just don't do it.
Just don't do it. Nobody will play it. It'll take forever. You'll have to pay for servers. It's like having to update it. It's like if it wasn't for Dusk World, our multiplayer mode, like Dusk would have been out on like every console already. It would have had like cross-play with everything. But no, we have to keep updating the stupid multiplayer mode that 24 people play. I mean, we love it. It's just like we love our multiplayer mode. It's stupid fun, but it's so not worth the time and effort. So do not add PvP multiplayer to your indie shooter, please. I implore you. Co-op, yes. PvP multiplayer, no. Like a Medieval, like it's just a single player game. Like it's got endless modes, got a single player campaign. Cool, done. The game's like done. Now we're porting it to consoles. We don't have to worry about anything. We don't have to, have community game nights or anything. It's just a single player game. It's great. No multiplayer. There was a few people asking for multiplayer. It's like, where? No, they're just like, well, people want it. Like 5 people give a shit. Like, it's so like if you get like a few tweets and comments like, are you gonna add multiplayer? Just be like, no. It's okay. It's okay not to have multiplayer in your game because they will forget about it and move on to the next thing anyway. Even giant multiplayer games like are struggling to find players right now because you got to compete with like Rainbow Six Siege and Fortnite and Overwatch and everything else that has taking up all the millions of players in the world. Nobody's going to play your fucking indie game.
There are so many games out right now that demand all of your attention, and it drives me nuts.
It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment of riches, right? There's just people are like, why doesn't my multiplayer game have players? Because there's so many fucking games out that have millions of players, and nobody's gonna play yours. Like, it's just not gonna happen. Like, don't make a multiplayer game in 2019. The whole world is playing Fortnite and shit.
That said, I think that adding the ability to play multiplayer maps with bots is something that I really miss. Like, I played the hell out of Gears 3 like that.
I would love to, because that means people can at least play your game forever. The death knell for games like indie multiplayer games is like you made an unplayable game, right? There's no single player, there's nobody to play with. You just got a game sitting there that nobody can play. If you have bots, at least you can still always play that game. You can at least shoot stuff. I think of a game that Future Mark made called Shattered Horizon. I don't know if you remember that. It was kind of like a low gravity fighting FPS on the moon type of game where you're like, floating around in space shooting people, and like, it kind of died off pretty quickly, but it's got bots, so you can always play it.
Right, that's one of the things I really enjoyed about not Red Dawn, Red Faction.
Oh, Red Faction, yeah.
Red Faction, yeah, because we love turning the bots on and then we'd crank them up to like overkill difficulty and just see what we could do.
Yeah, I'd love to get bots going for Dusk World. Maybe one day. I mean, we're focused on the GOG version, which should be out in the next week or so, and then Switch port, because one more person asks me about the goddamn Switch version, I'm going to lose my mind.
That's like every indie game.
Plus, like, we really
right
want it
now.
out on that system. Nintendo really likes it. Like, our players really want it. It'd be cool to, like, I don't know, make some money. So, like, we're stoked on it. I want it to be out on Switch, but we've just been so busy with all this other shit. And people forget people think we're like a real company. Like, I'm like in my apartment right now. It's like, we don't have an office. We're opening an office, like, because we've done well. So I'm going to open an office for like 5 of our guys. But like, people are like, what's taking this goddamn company so long? I'm like, we're like 4 dudes. Chill out.
Come on, there's only so many of us. And I imagine most of your guys' work is done online remotely.
Yeah, we use Discord for everything. We do our weekly meetings and we, set all our tasks and we have channels. And we're all just like, we're not like a publisher, we're not like a Devolver where we just publish games. We develop everything in-house and we're all, we all just work out of one server and everybody kind of, works on and helps out with all the other games. And we just kind of, we go week to week, just the stuff we're working on for each game and, kind of set our tasks like what we're working on and put stuff out as we can, and then I go out and promote it as best I can, and we just keep going. It's just one day at a time, basically. We don't have any like grand plans. We just keep doing what we're doing, just slowly bigger and better every time.
And it seems like it's working out, because I think I actually noticed you guys from Twitter, and it seems like that's one of your best tools.
Yeah, I'm a dumbass on Twitter, and we're pretty good at it. It's, just because social's fun. Like, and one of the things we do that I like is we only stick to a few platforms. We don't worry about like Instagram and Reddit and shit like that. We're like, if you have an issue or a question, post it on the Steam forums or the GOG forums. If you want to talk to us directly, come to our Discord. And if you want to keep up to date with all our dumb shit, follow us on Twitter. And that's it. We try to keep a very small funnel because otherwise it's too much to manage. If we had like an Instagram and we like ran our own, Reddit communities and all that shit, or we're on other people's Discords, it's like, no, you want to find us, you come here. And that's been, we've got like 11,000 people on the Discord now. All of our Twitters for all the games and developers have thousands of followers and stuff, and we cross-post. And then, we keep our Steam forums and reviews like very well managed. We respond to people almost immediately if they've got problems. And that's it, and it works. It's not too much to manage, nothing goes ignored. And we try to make sure that if people want to talk to us or ask questions about us or our games, we're easy to find. And we're open. People say, like, don't read the comments, just, blah, blah, blah. Like, I say, read every comment, read every negative review, take it in, try to talk to people, see what's up. And it's worked for us so far, but also, like, we're small. So it's so far so good.
No, that's awesome, though.
Yeah, I know we've dabbled in multiple social media channels, and I always just kind of default to Twitter. It's the one that I understand the most.
Yeah, same. Like, I don't give a shit about, like, Snapchat or Instagram or, like, any of that stuff. I mean, Facebook, we've got Facebooks and stuff, but that's just, for posting, like, big updates. I mean, Facebook's dead for small businesses and stuff. They make you pay just to, like, engage with the people who already like your page. And it works for, like, you could drop some money and boost posts and get some engagement on, like, giveaways and stuff, because we like to do giveaways. But other than that, Facebook is just for posting pictures of my dog.
I do like your dogs. How are they doing?
They're good. Well, Roxy's having surgery next week. Bear's fine. He's going to live to be, like, 25, like the world's loudest beagles. He'll live forever. Roxy's getting a hip replacement, so she's kind of sad right now, but she'll be fine in a few weeks after the surgery.
That's good, because I know I always see, like, the Roxy joke Twitter account come in.
Like, one of our players, there's, like, 2 of our community guys that run that account, and it's just, like, it's so funny. Well, like, I'm like, tweeting at a fake account for my dog. That, like, I'm tagging this fake account for my dog in pictures of my actual dog. It's just, like, it's like I go and I'll, like, play with my dog, and I'm thinking about, like, this fake Twitter that one of our players runs. It's just like, God damn it.
I love that one, and I love the newblood.text. That one's
Oh,
also really funny.
yeah, that one's hilarious. That's, it's not like a secret who runs that one, but yeah, he's a funny dude. He does a lot of meme accounts, and he's very good with, like, Photoshop and different video editors and stuff, so That's high quality memeage. Good stuff. So yeah, we've got such a cool community that makes we get fan art. People bring us like physical things at shows. We got players who like made rats from Dusk out of like old mice. And they bring us art, and I've got people have been tattooing Dusk on themselves because I made some stupid tweet that like, hey, anybody who gets a Dusk tattoo, I'll pay you $420.69. And then a bunch of people went out and made tattoo appointments, and I was like, oh no, it's going to cost me thousands of dollars. But yeah, people are out there getting Dusk tattoos. There've already been a few. There were people doing that before I started paying for them. I mean, hey, that's cheap advertising. That's like for life. I got people, with Dusk. Yeah, it's cheaper than a billboard, and it's been really cool to see the people that really like our stuff. So we're gonna keep doing what we do the only way we know how.
What's your favorite community moment that's happened so far?
That's a good one. I don't know, probably when I think the original Dusk early access launch, we all got in voice chat for our main Discord, which is nuts. If you've never heard like 150 people in one Discord voice call at once, it was like absolute mayhem, and everybody counted down like it was New Year's. That was pretty fun. I think we did that again too recently. I jumped in. What did we jump in voice for? I think it was the Medieval launch or something. Kind of did like a kind of AMA. It's fun. Like I don't get in there too often because it'd just be nonstop questions, but I love interacting with our community and our players, and that's why we do shows and stuff, right? Just getting out there, talking to people, watching them play the games, getting feedback, selling some merch, having a good time. I mean, I'm very relieved we're not going to PAX West this year because I'm just so fucking over doing shows and stuff. Like we just launched 2 games, put one in early access. Also, we don't have a lot of people in the Pacific Northwest, so like we definitely prefer to do PAX East.
That makes sense. Most
of our guys are in Boston and PA and in the Northeast. I'm from New York, so we'll definitely probably be back at PAX East. But I'm busy moving to New Zealand, so I definitely do not have time to go fuck around in Seattle. This will be the first PAX West. Well, it used to be PAX Prime that I haven't been to. I think I've been to every one for the last 11 years. This is like the first one I'm missing.
Damn, that's a long running.
All right, so something weird just happened that I haven't seen since I moved out here. For context, I live in Juneau, Alaska.
Oh, wow.
And it just thundered.
Okay.
That doesn't happen. That's fucking weird. Now the dogs are freaking out. Like,
yeah, maybe it's the elder gods are trying to tell you something.
Goddamn climate change is what it is.
So come for us all.
But yeah, I've really enjoyed kind of like, I'm a sort of passive part of the Dusk community because like I play it and I love it and I follow all the Twitters and stuff and I get a big kick out of it. But it has been really cool to see like all the different fan art, especially of like Dusk in particular. I think's got some really cool fan art because there's a lot of like 80s horror, redneck rampage stuff kind of going on. And I'm from West Virginia, so like Appalachian stuff has always been kind of intriguing to me. And it's cool to see people like put that dark spin on it.
Oh yeah.
Now I guess the other question that I have as far as like favorite moments, because community moments, it seems like the launch has been a big deal for you guys, but what's your favorite like gameplay moment that you all have worked on?
Like in the games?
Yeah, like a particular encounter or your favorite weapon, or what has been something that really sticks out?
The endings of both Dusk and the Medieval, because we worked really hard on them and I had a lot of input on them, especially Dusk. I love what we did with the ending, and I love what we did with the ending of a Medieval. I'm not going to spoil it for you because I know you're playing it right now.
Yeah.
A lot of the things with these retro shooters, they didn't really have like stories or endings and stuff back then. Like, do you remember the ending of like Duke 3D and stuff? Like, it wasn't like, it's just like you kind of just got to the end of the game. But I tried to make sure we craft like at least more like plausible, fun, story-based, experiences here. Like, I want the games to have a beginning, middle, and an end. We're not writing like deep narrative here, but you at least you've got a journey to go on, and you want the end of it to be really satisfying and fun, right?
Yeah, there's some closure.
Yeah, so with both Dusk and Medieval, you want to finish a game and be like, nice. The credits roll, and you're like, that was dope. I had a good time playing that game. Money well spent. And I think with both Dusk and Medieval, we totally nailed it. 2 very different endings. One's kind of like a fuck you ending. One's kind of like a nice happy ending. And I like both. I actually wanted a Medieval to also have like a very fuck you ending, because I'm just kind of obsessed with like fuck you endings, where it's just like, haha, very... Dusk, as is kind of got it's basically the ending of Half-Life 1, same thing, right?
Yeah, it's very similar.
I love those kind of endings where it's like, you've come all this way and now fuck you. The Medieval guys were like, no, we're not going to do that. Let's just do like the happy ending. I was like, fine. I mean, it's not completely, there's some stuff in there if you look closely, that stuff's not, completely happy, but I'm not going to spoil it. But I like what we did with both the endings, and I think that's a big part of why the games have been received so well, because they're both just satisfying experiences. And then with stuff like, Super Galaxy Squadron, we've also got that, our little pixel shmup that we're working on. We're actually bringing that to Switch too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just doing like the final weapon. Like I love that fight, and it's so hard we're nerfing it. But like when you get to it, and like there's no health bar, and the music kicks in, it's like final boss. Yeah, I think I'm just obsessed with endings. But
That's fair.
I think that's what really helps take a game from being good to great. Because like when you play a game and the ending like is not good, it just sours the entire experience. Like Witcher 3, for example, I got to the end after like 130 hours and I got the bad ending. I didn't just get the bad ending, I got the worst ending where fucking Geralt and Ciri both die. And I was like, what?
Oh my god.
I was like, what the fuck is this? And it turns out I got that ending because there's like 5 or 6 binary choices you make throughout the course of the game that will decide which ending you get.
Oh, see, I never got very far in The Witcher.
So it's like one where I told Ciri to like, mess up her room instead of like doing something else. I was like, I don't know. I was just trying to choose what felt right? I don't use guides and stuff when I play RPGs. I try to like, go from the gut and, get the ending I deserve.
Right.
Which I guess apparently was the bad ending. So I had to, and then there was all this stuff. I was just like, really? After all this? And then I went back and I changed it and I got the like, and I was able to see the other endings. But it just soured the whole experience for me. And you get that a lot with games with multiple endings. If you go and you get an ending you don't like and you have to go watch the other endings on YouTube, I feel like that's a shitty experience. Like BioShock, for example, like the only way to get the good ending is to like not harvest any of the little sisters or whatever. You have to be like 100% perfect good guy the whole time. But the game is at odds with you for that because you don't get as much, currency or atoms to like get your abilities.
Exactly. It's like running hard mode.
Yeah, same shit with Dishonored. It's like, hey, and I hate these forced morality systems. Like, hey, we're gonna give you all these cool superpowers, but don't use them because if you kill anybody, you're gonna get the bad ending. It's like, cool, you give me the ability to like summon rats that eat people alive, but you don't want me to use it because I'll get the bad ending, and I have to go watch the good ending or the right ending on YouTube. Like, that's not fair. So I think a lot of games over the last few years have fallen into that trap of like, this forced morality in games. It's just like, let me have fun. Let me do all the fun, crazy shit, and then show me, just write one ending. It's okay for your game to have one ending. You see all these articles what the, new games come out, and it's like, the game will have 17 different endings depending on your choices. Like, cool.
When I hear that, I immediately think, all right, it has 17 like kind of half-assed endings, maybe 1 or 2 cool ones.
Exactly, and and then one true one, right? I enjoy when games, use your choices to like give you a certain ending, but I love the way the old Fallout games do it, where it goes through a slideshow showing you like what you did, how you affected every place you visited. And, like I remember going off, like I said, I always go with my gut in games like that. So like Fallout 1 and 2, obviously, some of my favorite games of all time. And then New Vegas, I just played it like off the cuff. And I remember I got to the ending and it like went through all these slideshows and I'm like, this was perfect. This was a perfect ending for me. I affected every place that I went through and in the wasteland exactly how I thought I would, and I got an ending that I'm cool with, and like it felt very satisfying. Whereas like I got to that ending in The Witcher 3 and I was like, what the fuck did I do to deserve this? I don't understand. Like, I thought I beat the game, and Geralt's dead, Ciri's dead. I'm like, really? Did I make, that many bad decisions? And it turns out it was only because of, 4 or 5 moments in the game where I chose one dialogue option instead of another that totally affected the end of the game, and it didn't feel deserved at all. And, like, obviously I get that, making a game like Dusk or Medieval is way different to making a game like The Witcher 3.
Well, yeah.
But still, I mean, at least with our small-scale stuff, I'd rather focus on one story, one ending, and just making sure players are happy at the end of the day. It's like $20 well spent on our games.
Multiple endings is why I'd never finish Chrono Trigger. It's kind of daunting to me.
Yeah, but those were all. I mean, all those endings are pretty cool. And then you get the Chrono Trigger's got the secret Square Enix developer room ending.
Oh yeah, the only game that I've seen do multiple endings that I think is really engaging, at least the best way I've seen, is Nier Automata. Nier Automata.
I don't know yet. I think you can pronounce it a few different ways. I haven't played that, but I hear it's very good.
It's super cool. I only got through the first like 3 or 4 endings because there's like 7 main ones or something, and then you get to the end of the game, so to speak.
Yeah.
But what I played, I really enjoyed, and I feel like I only kind of scratched the surface. There's a lot of cool systems you can play around with.
Yeah, I'm doing Deus Ex right now, and those have multiple endings too. You always get to the end. Those games are always very cheap about. It's like choose your ending. You get to like the end of the world-inator, and you just basically get to go press whatever button you want to press to like see whichever ending you want. But
Yeah.
the original Deus Ex did that too. I'm working through Mankind Divided right now, which apparently doesn't even have an ending. It just ends on a cliffhanger because they didn't finish the second half of the game. But whatever.
Nice.
Everyone's waiting for the third installment. There's actually been a lot of people angry about it recently because it's been like 4 years.
Oh no. Sounds like a Half-Life 3.
Hey, I waited 10 years for Final Fantasy 15.
Which I liked Final Fantasy 15, but man, that game had they chopped that game up and stitched it back together like a whole bunch. I was like, how about
They could not stop fiddling with it, and it shows.
The fact that that game exists at all is kind of a miracle.
Yeah, really.
But I mean, I liked it. I liked the ending. The boys get their big sad ending.
I thought it was cool that they aged. That was neat. I wish there was more of that.
Yeah, I wanted to play in the the whole you get the whole dark world for a minute. And you're like, this is cool. There's a wall. Game's over.
Yeah.
And then they released those those after episodes, which were pretty cool. It helped explain some stuff. I'm like, that would have been cool if it was in the game, or if half the stuff was explained. You had to go watch a movie, then play these side things, and read some comics. I was like,
watch the anime.
Yeah, I would just like the game to explain itself in the game. Thank you very much.
My favorite instance of that is they mentioned the Insomnia being taken over by the Empire or whatever in the first couple hours of the game, and that whole event is wild awesome, and it's in a movie. They read it in a fucking newspaper.
Yeah, they stitched that, they chopped it up so badly, and I had friends who were like, no, you just gotta take in the whole experience, all these different forms of media. I'm like, I remember when you just bought a game and the game explained its goddamn self.
Maybe you got some insight in the manual. Maybe.
Yeah, it's just let me just play the game, but I mean, it's modern Japanese culture.
Speaking of endings, the place I think I feel that the hardest is anime, and I think you're a bit of an anime fan, eh?
I like some, I'm a pretty, I'm not deep into it, but I've just been watching JoJo. Obviously, everyone loves their JoJo references, and then stuff like Dragon Ball and Cowboy Bebop, all the stuff we watched growing up on Toonami. But
Yes.
I'm not a deep anime fan. I tried watching One Punch is okay, it's pretty funny. But then I've tried watching stuff what's the one with Attack on Titan? I could not get a few episodes in. I was like, fuck these kids, they're fucking annoying crybabies. I hope they all get eaten. I'm shutting this off.
Well, if it makes you feel better, they probably do.
Yeah, I could not get through all this stupid emotional well, I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm not emo enough for this. So not a ton of anime, but yeah, obviously that's the good shit. I like stuff like that.
Where in the world do you even start with JoJo? Because I've started 2 or 3 different series, and I've been like, what the fuck's going on?
Start from the beginning. Just start from the beginning. Start from the first, part 1, and then watch all the way through part 5. It's not that many. I mean, you could do it in a couple months or whatever, and it changes so wildly. Part 1 to part 3, 4, 5 is just a completely different show.
Yeah.
It started in the 80s, and then part 5 was just animated, and I think that's from 1999, the actual comics.
Oh wow, let's do a Berserk kind of situation.
Yeah, I mean the animated series are coming, basically a decade after the comics were done. But yeah, I mean the source material's there. Comics don't age. So.
Maybe that's where I'll start, the manga then. I don't know. There's been a lot of I have a tendency to kind of avoid anything that's really long. I don't like One Piece at all.
Yeah, apparently that's I've never seen One Piece, but apparently it's got 11 billion episodes or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, One Piece is ridiculous. It's
so goddamn long.
I mean, I even think stuff I couldn't even get through Dragon Ball Super, and I love Dragon Ball growing up. It's just how many? I look at the episode list. I'm like, I'm not watching 100 fucking episodes of Dragon Ball where each one is just a recap. Because I remember watching it when I was a kid. It would be week to week, almost serialized, next time on Dragon Ball Z. It's oh boy, can't wait to find. Now that you can just binge them, it's just annoying. I'm just really?
Yeah, it doesn't feel as special.
Yeah, 20 minutes of 2 dudes staring at each other and powering up. It's come on, can we get to the fucking fight already? I'm over it. I don't have the attention span that I did when I was a kid, or the patience. Yeah.
I tell you what, though, if you haven't seen the Dragon Ball Super Broly film, that is some good times.
Yeah, I heard it was good. I watched the Frieza one. I saw it. My friends at Funimation got me to the premiere, so I watched that in the movie theater, and that was pretty good.
Nice.
That was also basically that was the first few episodes of Super was the resurrection of Frieza or whatever. It was the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And that was good. I mean, Dragon Ball is Dragon Ball. It's you know what you're getting. people are going to stand across from each other and power up and shoot stuff at each other and die and resurrect and Dragon Ball.
There's something simple and awesome about that. This is why I like your guys' work in the retro FPSs especially, is it's got a clear goal and it's simple, but it works.
Can't complain. Yeah, we do. We try to take it easy and have fun.
For sure. So Zach, where are you kind of stand on retro FPS? I know that you were kind of like talking a little bit about some of your history on it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have any kind of good computer for anything like that back in the day. Like, we had super baseline enough to learn computers. I was the guy in the family. They were like, we got a computer. You're the young one. You're going to learn to use it and do stuff for us.
Yep.
I got to play a little bit of Doom and stuff like that, but my family didn't like that sort of thing. So a lot of, like, shooters of any kind were not something I could play when I was young. So really, I don't think I've played but one Quake, and I don't remember which one it was. I want to say early 2000s, late 2000s is the only Quake I've played.
Oh god, that could have been the multiplayer one.
I can't remember. Isaac loved it, but it was 3D, really nice graphics, not retro. Yeah, I played the old Doom, and not all of the chapters. I didn't even know there were more chapters for like another 5 or 6 years.
Man, new Doom or old Doom got the newest chapter with Sigil. Have you played that? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. I watched some of the stuff from it, but I haven't actually played it. No, I don't have old Doom on the system actually.
Dave, have you played that one?
What, Sigil? Yeah, it's fucking hard.
Yeah, it is.
It's like, oh man, it's the most fuck you episode of anything ever. It's just like, I appreciate the design, but man, it's just not for me. I like Doom mods where you're just running around shotgunning stuff and having fun, not like trying to, get over insta-death pits and fucking crusher rooms and, hitting a switch and a bunch of Barons of Hell show up behind you. It's just like every time you turn around, it's like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Not my kind of, not what I would call fun, but...
I spent so much time trying to get through the crusher rooms.
Yeah, I just DQD'd through that shit. I was like, I'm over it. Like, there's an invulnerability spear, like, over, like, a secret near it, but it doesn't last long enough to get through it. It's also very Contra-ish, where, like, once you memorize what's where, you can play through it again.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the whole thing with the crusher room, it's like, once you realize what you have to shoot and where the actual door is, like, sure, you can do it. But the first time, you're like, well, fucking, I'm just trying to get through this. And it's very annoying. You got chain gunners everywhere. It's just...
Yeah, that definitely gets better with multiple playthroughs, because I think the second or third time I played through it, because I just spent a weekend on it or something, I felt a little better.
Yeah, not for me.
I think it's really cool, though, that we have a developer that worked on Doom, back in 20, 30 years ago, and then came back to revisit it to make another episode. I think that's wild.
I mean, it was Romero, and John's never really stopped making Doom levels. Every few years he'll put out something or do something. And I mean, and John could fart, and Doom fans would be like, "Oh my god, this fart's amazing! It's the greatest fart I've ever smelled."
For sure.
So, when he decided to do a whole new episode, it was cool. Plus, he did, like, that big box with limited run, which was pretty sweet, with, like, all the fucking 666 shit on it.
Yeah, the artwork is pretty ballin'.
Yeah, I mean, that was cool. Honestly, I think that stuff's cooler than the WAD itself. And the soundtrack is really good. The MIDI soundtrack by this dude named James Paddock, who I met him at QuakeCon. Really nice dude. Really awesome. Also, yeah, so he had Buckethead do, like a full-on soundtrack.
That's the one that I played with.
Yeah, I couldn't get into that at all. I fucking put the MIDI music on it, and that goes so much better. I don't know how much money he paid Buckethead to do that soundtrack, but it was too much.
I thought it was fine, but yeah.
I like Buckethead in small doses, like a solo here or there. Like, complete songs from that dude are like a bit much. It's just a lot of hammer tapping and fucking, I don't know. Buckethead is, and it's very like, really, Buckethead 2019? That's who you went with? But the MIDI soundtrack was really good. But yeah, Sigil was a thing. I love, everybody. There's all, but I like Doom mods that really do crazier, more fun stuff. Like Golden Souls 3, I think the demo's just out now, and that basically turns Doom into Super Mario 64.
All right. That's wild.
Yeah, you're just like running around collecting stars, bouncing off walls and everything. It's if you haven't checked it out, go check that one out. And I like stuff like that. I don't like Romero fuck you insta-death Doom wads. I like fun, jumpy, shooty Doom wads. But that's the cool thing about the Doom community. There's something for everyone.
That is very true. Mm-hmm.
There's something out there you can think of. Someone has probably made it in Doom.
To the extremes. Everything from, do you want to play the original Aliens film in Doom, to, do you want to fuck demons as hentai?
H-Doom is definitely a thing. Yeah, Mike, we know that guy. He's working on some stuff for us for Dusk updates.
Oh. That could be interesting, I guess.
Yeah, no, not like hentai stuff. I mean, he could do that if he wants, but he's working on some cool pixel art stuff for us.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Does not involve fucking the characters.
It's a shame. We all wanted the Wendigo.
Somebody on Twitter drew like all of the monsters like in sexy versions, and I was like, God damn.
Of course. Kick you out of the Discord.
Yeah, and it was really funny because they did one. They did like side by sides of all of them. They got to the fork maidens. It was like already hot. Those are the farmers' wives with the pitchforks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just said doesn't need to do anything. Already hot, and I was like, well.
Well, alrighty.
Well,
yeah, I actually played through Dusk. Like, I played through the first episode when it was just available, and then when 2 came out, I played from 1 to 2 again, and then 3 and 1 to 3. So it's been pretty wild to see how that game's evolved, and I highly recommend both Dusk and a Medieval. I can already tell I'm going to really like a Medieval, but Dusk I've just been kind of touting ever since it's came out. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, you have. I remember watching you play through it, too.
There's a video on our YouTube. It's not a great video, but it is a video. I don't know. Retro FPSs, for whatever reason, I'm fascinated by. Because, again, I didn't play them growing up, but now they're like, I think they're super awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's, there's something for everyone. There's so many the old ones are so easy to get into. There's been so many HD remasters, even stuff like Turok, which was, only on N64 originally, now has great PC versions thanks to the guys at Night Dive.
Yeah, I gotta pick those up.
And there's something for everyone. If you liked, if you liked the build engine games, there's new stuff like that. If you liked, Quake style stuff, there's new stuff like that. If you like the old Wolf 3D, fixed axis, no looking up and down type stuff, there's stuff like that now. There's something for everyone.
It's crazy.
Even stuff that's more like Half-Life, Unreal. Obviously, with a Medieval, it's like very much like Hexen and Heretic. There's something for everyone who likes the old shooters from the 90s and 2000s. So it's good, and I think there's enough of them now. I've been talking to guys. I think, are we done with the retro FPS? It's like enough. Can we move on and play other stuff? And I was like, yes. We're gonna go back to isometric CRPGs. I hope.
There you go. Right in time for Baldur's Gate 3. Whenever that comes out.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Actually, the funny thing is, I have not played the new Divinity games, which is crazy because
I haven't either.
That's probably my favorite genre is isometric CRPGs. I love like the old Fallout and Baldur's Gate.
Oh, I love Baldur's Gate.
God, I used to play one called Dungeon Siege.
Yeah, and Dungeon Siege. There was so many.
Yeah.
Divinity Original Sin, apparently those games are like the best, new versions of the isometric CRPGs. I just haven't had time because also, those games are, 80, 100, 20-hour games.
That's the only reason I haven't picked them up.
Yeah, but those guys, Larry, and, they're working on Baldur's Gate 3, which should be very, very cool.
I love this era that we're in gaming now, that it's not just a pursuit of, high-def graphics. It's doing all these different spins on classic designs, and we're really starting to focus on the actual design of a game rather than pushing the envelope all the time.
Yeah, I think we're in a really cool time where there is absolutely something for everyone. Whether you like, even Call of Duty now is really come into its own again. Like everyone says, the new Modern Warfare is just balls to the wall awesome. It's got the best graphics, the best gameplay, the best everything. It's basically Battlefield now. They finally just fuck it, we're just gonna make it. We're just gonna turn Call of Duty into Battlefield, and everyone's like, yeah.
As long as they don't put microtransactions in after the fact, I'm fine with it.
I'm sure it's Activision. I'm sure they will.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. I'll live. And then you've got, stuff like, 8-bit stuff like Celeste, which is, all the awards. So and then there's everything in between, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody should be complaining that they don't have any games to play. They should be complaining that there's too many games to play and they'll never get to them all.
Yep, that's the big complaint. All right, Dave, so if we wanted to find you on the internet somewhere, I mean, what is the best place? Seems like Twitter and Discord might be the place.
Yeah, at Twitter, join our Discord, discord.gg/newblood. I am at Dave Oshry, Oshry, on Twitter. You can find our games at newblood.games, or, you can go to notfortnite.com, wehate.money, drinkmore.vodka. These are all actual URLs that I own. PewDiePie.exposed. I own that one, too, for some dumb reason.
Your guys' URLs are hysterical. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, OshrySucks.com. That's a good one. Yeah. You can find us anywhere there, but yeah, mostly discord.gg/newblood. Find us on Twitter. Come hang out. Talk to us about our stupid games. And that's about it.
Perfect. Zach, where are we finding you, my friend?
You're going to find me, as always, on Twitter at exquisite_liar, and then pretty much any other social media outlet, not an outlet, whatever they are, platforms, just as Exquisite Liar, all one word.
And And of course, I am at the number 4 EverClassic105 on Twitter if you want to find me directly. You can also hit up our joint Twitter, ForeverXClassic, and you can also find pretty much anything we do at ForeverClassicGames.com. So as always, if you do enjoy our show, give us a follow on whatever social media. We've got a Patreon, I guess. Yeah, check us out. And as always, stay cool.